This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let's keep it moving here. We're going to get a backstage segment with David Otunga saying he's going to plan to help Wade Barrett without interfering. And if any member of the Nexus interferes, as a reminder here, Cena wins. And next up, we get the angle with maybe the most interest. It's John Cena and Wade Barrett, the leader of the group of the former NXT rookies, now known as the Nexus. Since their creation, Nexus has assaulted a lot of guys on Raw, but they've mainly focused on Cena, causing him to lose several championship matches. And at Night of the Champions, Nexus attacked Cena, and that allowed Barrett to eliminate him from the six-pack challenge. The next day on Raw, both Cena and Wade would agree to a match with the stipulation that if Barrett was to win, Cena has to join the Nexus. But if Cena wins, Nexus is going to be forced to be disbanded. And that's a fun step. Believe it or not, Wade Barrett pins John Cena in 17:45. Great match. Tons of interest from the fans. They're hot for everything. Michael McGillicuddy tries to run into the ring and Jack Doan catches him with a front face lock. Cena acts distracted and Husky Harris appears out of nowhere to knock him out. 3.5 stars. The crowd is legitimately shocked. I think everyone assumed Cena was winning. This was good stuff, man. What'd you think?
I think the Nexus had probably another year and a half that you could have been piling the heat on them.
Yep.
Though that got cut off way too soon. You had some really, really young and upcoming stars in that group, guys that could perform. They looked good. They were good. I mean, they were exactly what we said they were. They were the future of the business. And Cena was the perfect guy to put in the hot seat, you know, for them to use to get heat on. And I think they just, you know, every example that you had where those guys came out and did their thing and got away with it, it worked. This night would have been no exception.
It is kind of interesting to look back and see how much steam Nexus had and how over Wade was. And then they started to fiddle with his character a little bit. And I don't know that it ever got back the steam he had with Nexus. Do you think Wade was done? I mean, he's back now with WWE. Do you think he was done a disservice more than anybody else when this thing goes kaput?
Well, I mean, you can dissect the members of Nexus and, you know, what they had to offer. God knows if they had it in them then, you know, you take a Heath Slater, you know, when given the chance, you know, he did well with everything that was presented to him.
Right.
Wade Barrett too. He's a big, tall, good looking guy, good worker, very creative, you know, on his promos, everything. There were no holes in Wade anywhere. You know, he was a guy that, you know, if you would have just continued to groom and build his character and take your time with him, God knows, you know, the limits the guy could have had. But it's when you start fiddling with it, you know, that whole King of the Ring thing concept to me was just dated and just, it was a ha-ha act. And why you felt the need to put that on him, I think it damaged him more than it helped him.
Do you think this would have hurt Cena for him to lose clean here?
There was 8 of them. Something like that, right?
Yeah, that's my point. There's a ton, but in the end, is that just the storytelling aspect, or do you think it really could have helped Wade had he won without any help?
No, I think he should have won, which
He did.
he did.
Yeah.
And the whole benefit, what you always have to do, strengthen numbers. You know, the factions that were successful throughout history had strength in numbers. And the reason they were so frightening and so scary and so effective is they would utilize those numbers in careful ways to where, hey, you could beat all of them individually if you were a superstar babyface. But when they were all together, they were unbeatable.
Right.
And that was the story you should tell with Nexus. And you could have ran with that for God knows how long. You cannot account for all 8 guys at every moment, every waking moment. And there's the one that you didn't see that gets you. It's a pretty simple concept, but man, you can build some heat and some frustration with the audience by using those numbers.
No doubt about it. And that's clearly the goal. I mean, it feels like they're even trying to set a series, because the group of guys who do run out and run off Nexus or Big Show, Mark Henry, Goldust, Chris Masters, Dolph Ziggler, MVP, Morrison, the Hart Dynasty, R-Truth, Evan Bourne, Kofi Kingston. So it's a big group of folks, but it's certainly seemingly setting up almost factions. There's a line in the sand as we march towards Survivor Series, but the story continues. We should mention the next night they're doing Raw in Wichita. They're going to open the show with Nexus. And the stipulation from the night before, Cena has to join Nexus. I'm sure we'll talk about exactly what that looks like on an upcoming episode, but here's the gist. While pay-per-view buys were down from the prior year for this October effort, ratings are up the next day. They go to a 3.35 or 4.78 million viewers. Meltzer would attribute the spike to Cena joining Nexus. Hard to argue that Cena and Nexus was scrapped too soon. I mean, fans were really, really into it, were they not?
Sure. Those guys are getting heat. The key to this business, the key to putting butts in seats, or have some very unlikable, I mean, to the point of you want to see somebody kill this guy or guys or women, and those guys were getting heat.
Right.
And it works. It worked then. It will work now. And then you start looking for a guy on the other side of the fence. Okay, who's going to be the guy that can and will shut these guys up? And that's basically how you build angles and the story of the wrestling industry.
Next week. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.